Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on tips and tricks from LinkedIn to learn how you can get the most out of your LinkedIn account. So we'll start off by, I'll introduce myself. My name is Clara McCarthy and I am an account executive with LinkedIn. I have worked for LinkedIn for about 14 months. I joined just after we floated last summer. So here's the agenda for what we're going to look at today. It should take about 30 minutes and it'll be broken up into 4 sections. So we'll begin now by a brief introduction to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn was founded in 2003 by Reid Hoffman, who is now today our executive chairperson. We have over 175 million members across the world. We grow at a phenomenal rate of 2 members per second. If we look at the UK, it's actually one of our more saturated markets, with 2/3 of professionals having a LinkedIn account. 62% of our members are actually based outside of the United States. Our mission since we started 9 years ago is to connect the world's professionals in order to make them more productive and more successful. Every single member that joins our network has the chance to uncover economic opportunity through LinkedIn, and also to provide economic opportunity for others in their network. Therefore, you, for example, as somebody who works in recruitment, as a recruitment leader, you create economic opportunity by connecting talented candidates with career opportunities, literally changing the career path and trajectory of everyone you hire or place. So, the big question is, we have 175 million members, but what are those professionals actually doing on LinkedIn? And why do they join LinkedIn? Well, there are plenty of reasons, but here are just 5 of them. So first of all, it's your professional brand of record. So it's your profile of record. Through your profile, through your status updates, and through every interaction on LinkedIn, you're branding yourself. Secondly, people want to get smart about what's going on in their industries. Through their peers network updates, through group discussions, and through tools like Signal, people get to learn about what's happening within their industry. For some people, it's a case of thinking about their career. They may not be actively looking for an opportunity, but they might decide it's time to polish their profile, just in case. Or maybe they want to approach colleagues to ask them for recommendations. For some people, it's to discuss business issues that matter to them. There are over 800,000 groups on LinkedIn, ranging from diversity groups to specialized groups, to careers, to company groups, and a lot more. Every single day, 100,000 people join another group. And the last one we'll talk about today is to connect with opportunities in numerous other ways. A case in point of this is an Irish startup called Coshido, which raised $250,000 in just 8 days, only using LinkedIn to reach out to angel investors. So you may be wondering, what's the connection between what members are doing on LinkedIn and, finding your next great hire, finding the next great candidate? Well, what we found, surveys have shown that 80% of LinkedIn members are not actually looking for a job, but these individuals are open to discussing new career opportunities. These are the passive candidates that you may have heard about. So let's talk a little bit more about active and passive candidates. Your active candidate will apply directly to your website or through your own ATS. Will listen to all the opportunities available to them, will respond quickly because they're out there looking for a job, and will be looking for information about the roles you have and about the company. On the other hand, your passive candidate, which counts for 80% of the LinkedIn network and the workforce in general, won't have an up-to-date or current CV, may not actually listen to opportunities, but will only listen to them if they are relevant and targeted towards them. They don't respond to an apply now approach. They need to be convinced that this is a good offer for them. And there's a much higher bar to respond to your inquiries. For example, I worked for LinkedIn for 14 months and my CV reflects where I was 14 months ago. It doesn't reflect where I have grown within the company, whereas my LinkedIn profile is an up-to-date reflection of my professional career. So for you as a recruitment leader, you need to plan to engage, attract, hire and place both active and passive candidates in order to find not the available, but the very best talent for your company. So you might have heard a lot about social recruitment and what you can do on various networks, but why is LinkedIn the best place to recruit top talent? Well, because on LinkedIn, people are there in a professional mindset. Think of it this way. For me and for most people, Facebook is for after work. It's for your friends, for your family. It's where you put your family photos or your holiday photos. You're unlikely to discuss your professional out there. Twitter is a little bit like a networking drink where you'll meet and speak to a whole variety of people about a mixture of topics varying from professional to your favorite football team to what the Kardashians did. So it's very, very varied and the messaging can get lost. However, when people are on LinkedIn, they're there specifically in a professional context. Knowing that and communicating through LinkedIn gives you a serious competitive advantage over other companies which aren't really copying on to this fact. So anything you can do on the network that targets potential candidates in a positive way will have a really strong impact on your business. So the next part of today's session is looking at how you can use LinkedIn to become a recruitment leader worth following. How do you become a thought leader on LinkedIn? So the first place to start is with your personal profile. So your personal profile is your platform for sharing information about yourself, about opportunities at your company. So what you really need to do is to make sure you've optimized your profile to connect with the type of candidates you want to engage with. Ask yourself, if the candidate came across my profile, what would he or she think? So this is my colleague Lindsay Browning. She is LinkedIn's EMEA's lead recruiter. And as one of our lead recruiters, she knows that her profile is going to get a lot of traffic through it. There's several things to note here. First of all, Lindsay has a picture. Make sure you have a picture. I can't emphasize that enough. It really makes a world of difference because it makes your profile seem more human, more accessible, and people tend to remember faces. It also makes the candidate more likely to respond to you when you reach out. One thing to note, your profile picture should definitely be professional. It shouldn't be a party picture, a cartoon, and most definitely it should not be your company logo. The second thing to note here is Lindsay's headline, I Heart Talent. It's showing what Lindsay is passionate about, that she's really passionate about her job, about what she does and where she works. I'd advise everyone to be creative with their headline. You don't have to say Director of Recruiting, Recruiter, HR Manager, Recruitment Consultant. Your headline shows up when people search your name. So it's an opportunity to make someone want to click on your profile. It's also enabling you to differentiate yourself from other recruitment leaders out there. Third, Lindsay links the LinkedIn company website, the career site, the blog, and the Twitter feed, as well as her own contact details on her profile. If people want to know more about your company, the logical next step for them is to check out these links or to maybe contact you directly. Lindsay has also personalised her vanity URL. We'll have a look at how to do this a little later on. Lindsay uses her status to regularly share jobs, to share relevant information, and other things that she thinks that her network will be interested in. So here you can see a job, but Lindsay has also recently shared a Harvard Business Review article, and she's also making use of free applications such as Box and SlideShare in order to show not only what open roles she has, but also what it's like to work at LinkedIn. All these types of things will contribute to your personal brand and your employment brand and make people have a far greater affinity to you. Now let's take a look at how Lindsay personalised her vanity URL. You can do this under Settings on LinkedIn. When you go into the Settings tab, you can choose your own URL from your public profile. As you can see here, Lindsay chose first name, last name, Lindsay Brown. If that's taken, you could try your last name, first name, or maybe add a number into your name. This is your vanity URL. You can include it on business cards, in your email signature, and so on. It's a really easy way to drive candidates back to your profile, which is more information and opportunities at your company. You'll also see this set of options on screen for customizing your public profile. Clicking these boxes will make the corresponding fields of your profile visible to the public, so non-LinkedIn users, as well as searchable by online search engines. This is key to ensuring your your profile appears when candidates, clients, or anyone else enters the matching search terms into Google, Yahoo, or Bing, or any other search engine. Since LinkedIn ranks quite highly in search results, this is a great opportunity to control what people find about you on Google. It's also essentially your own personal brand real estate, so you should really make the most of it. Back to Lindsay's profile. One thing that she uses really well is her summary section. She's nearly like an elevator pitch for would-be candidates, with languages like, well, what do I really love? Talent. And hunting for talent, engaging with talent, developing talent, partnering with talent, and most importantly, being part of an organisation where talent is the #1 priority. You should use this section to give potential candidates an idea of what it's like to work for your company. You can even indicate the type of roles you hire for, invite candidates to reach out to you and learn more by providing your contact information. Also remember that you should write this for the web in this section. You should use short, keyword-rich blocks of text that are very easy to consume. One thing to note is that LinkedIn's data scientist team recently did a study of the most overused buzzwords on LinkedIn. I'll give you a quick rundown of the top 10. You should probably try and leave these out of your profile. Innovative, motivated, results-orientated, dynamic, having a proven track record, team player, fast-paced, problem solver, and finally, entrepreneurial. I'm pretty sure I have one or two of those in mind as well, so I'll have to change them after this. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the skills and expertise section. So Lindsay has several skills and expertise on her profile. You should think search engine optimization when you think of the skills and expertise section in your profile, including words or phrases like talent acquisition, recruiting, recruiter manager, sourcing, will all allow you to show up higher in LinkedIn search results for when candidates are doing a search on recruiting and your company name. You can even get more specific and include the type of roles or skills you search for. And the next thing we will take a look at is recommendations. On the slide, you'll see excerpts from a couple of Lindsay's recommendations. You can ask for recommendations from your team, from your hiring managers, from people you've hired. The one thing I would say is not to go overboard in recommendations. A couple for each role that you've had is more than enough. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and making sure that the best one stands out. So one final but very important note about LinkedIn profiles is that not only you and not only all the recruiters or HR or consultants on your team should look at doing these steps to optimize their LinkedIn profile, but all your employees. Imagine the power of everyone in your company sharing job postings virally, talking about how exciting it is to be part of your company and creating a really engaging presence on their profiles. It's a huge opportunity and it's allowing you and your employees to be brand ambassadors for your company. So this slide is an in-map, which is a visual representation of your connections and how they're connected to each other. As you can see, they're done in clusters for this person's current company, past company, clients, previous schools, and friends. We'll share a link at the end of the webcast so you can create your own in-map. But why we shared it here was for you to get an idea about how powerful your network of connections can be. So looking at connections, probably the most important thing to talk about is who should you actually connect with? Well, LinkedIn's advice to you would be connect with your colleagues, connect with people at your company, connect with your peers at other companies, connect with people you've previously worked with, that you went to school or university with, connect with qualified individuals in the candidate pipeline with whom you'd like to keep in touch with, whether or not they're ready for a new opportunity. The more people you're connected to, the further your network reaches. Your connections allow you to gain valuable access to their connections, and you can ask your connections to warm up your leads with an introduction to their connections. You should maybe try browsing through the connections of some of your superstar employees, for example, the engineers at your company, because the odds are they probably know other superstar engineers as well and can make an introduction or referral for you. What I really want to stress here is that this does not mean that you should connect with just anyone. Having people you don't know, haven't worked with, and people who can't vouch for you or that you can't vouch for them dilutes your network value. As a word of warning, if you invite strangers to join your network too many times and people respond that they do not know you, you will not be allowed to invite people in the future. So I would advise you to choose your connections wisely. Since relevance is the key with connections, here's a great tip for expanding your network with relevant contacts. Import your address book. You can use this feature under the Contacts tab on LinkedIn. It allows you to add connections via addresses stored in your email in just a few clicks. Once you've added new contacts, engage and keep track of them. Use your status updates to share relevant content and add value back into the network. Monitor your connections updates on your homepage to keep a track of what they're doing. Reach out to them when they post something interesting or congratulate them when they've been promoted. So now that we've looked at personal profiles, the next thing to do is to look at how can you brand your company on LinkedIn. So this is LinkedIn's company page. If you do not have one of these as a company, you need to set one up straight away. It's really important to have a full in-depth company page on LinkedIn. You might actually have a company page and not know about it, so you should go online and have a look. The reason that one might exist without you knowing is that once more than 5 people on LinkedIn have the same email domain, for example, at linkedin.com, then a page automatically populates to give the company a presence on LinkedIn. As I've earlier mentioned, 80% of professionals on LinkedIn are passive. The reason you need one of these pages is because you want to make it as easy as possible for candidates to find out information about your company. You'll also notice that LinkedIn has nearly 200,000 followers. These are people who have said they're interested in your company, and we'll discuss the importance of followers shortly. Either when you create a page or when you find a page you didn't know you had, you'll need to edit the page to make sure it's always up to date and represents who your company is and what you're about. To edit, simply click on the admin button that appears on the top left-hand corner of the page. This will only appear on the company page to which you are linked. If you haven't done this before, it most likely means that anybody in your company can go in and edit this page. It's probably a good idea to actually assign administrator access to 1 or 2 people to make sure that it's secure. So back to followers. Recent surveys have showed that nearly all LinkedIn members would follow a company. Most people said that they would only follow up to 6 companies. Which brings us to the importance of followers and the importance of engaging with your followers. The majority of company followers are interested in potential career opportunities in the companies they follow, meaning they already have a warm relationship with you and are a great pool of talent for your company. Because of this warm relationship with you, they're more likely to become brand evangelists and share relevant company status updates with their network. By engaging with your followers, you can exploit the virality of social media and increase your brand awareness. And all this is something that you can do for free. So, now that we've learned how to brand your company and how you yourself are going to become a recruitment leader worth following, let's look at what other people in your industry are doing and how you get to learn about what's actually happening within your industry. LinkedIn today is a relatively new feature for us. Essentially what it does is it delivers the day's top news tailored to you based on your connections and what your industry peers are reading. For example, as a recruiting professional, your information needs are going to be pretty diverse. LinkedIn today is a really good tool to help you get up to speed on a broad range of topics really quickly. So here's a screen grab of today's top news regarding LinkedIn. You can choose a number of industries to follow. For example, you could follow staffing and recruitment. We want to peruse this page regularly to understand what's going on in your profession and see what your peers are sharing. However, LinkedIn today allows you to follow multiple industries. So let's say you're hiring for designers for an internet company. Well, there's a LinkedIn Today page for both design and internet. You can add those categories to your own LinkedIn Today homepage. So you'll have all the information you need in one place, minus the noise and clutter of other sites and social tools. And you can read off on what's happening in just a few minutes. Next up is groups. We've seen our customers use groups to achieve an incredible amount of goals. Everything from sourcing to building a pipeline of talent to employment branding. And obviously, groups can provide a wealth of information on pretty much any topic you need to stay up to date on. Here are a few rules of thumb to get you started. When it comes to groups, we recommend that you participate in many, that you join many, or participate in a few. So if we think about joining many, there are over 850,000 groups on LinkedIn. You can set group digests on a daily or weekly basis, so you control how often you get updates as to what's happening in the group. In terms of what groups you should Join recruiting groups to stay up to speed on your job. You could join groups that are relevant to the key talent pools to help keep your finger on the pulse of the market. These groups could be industry groups, so let's say a group focused on the CPG industry, or groups focused on a specific role, so maybe sales professionals, or front-end developers, or Java developers. In addition, being such a great source of insight, these kind of groups can provide prime opportunities for sourcing. If you keep an eye on the conversation and see who's asking relevant questions and providing smart answers, these people could become fantastic possible candidates for roles that you're looking to hire for or place in other companies. If you're looking for groups to join, you can search the groups directory by keyword to find relevant groups. You could also check out the Groups You May Like tab, which uses an algorithm based on your profile and your connections to suggest relevant groups to you. Both of these features can be found under the Groups tab on the top of your LinkedIn homepage. So the next rule of thumb, participate in a few. What I'd advise is to get involved in a select group, a few groups, to really brand yourself as an expert, as a thought leader. Don't just post open jobs or plug your company there. You really need to participate and make sure that it counts. Post thoughtful questions, articles that the group may like, and unbiased responses to conversations. Engaging in a conversation is a great way to keep your questions answered and keep your finger on the pulse. And it's also another great way to engage with potential passive candidates. When you join their conversations, it will make transitioning the conversation to opportunities much easier. So this little button here is called Signal. And Signal basically allows you to stay on top of everything within your network. So let's take a look. Say you're looking for someone to fill a role in your company. The first thing you can do is search for looking for a job or unemployed in the search bar. The results will show within your everyone within your network who's talking about looking for a job or who mentions the word unemployed. You can also use it to check and see how your company or brand is being portrayed amongst your connections. As you can see on the left, there are a number of filters to use to get rid of extra noise that's not relevant. This is also an incredibly useful business development tool. So for all the recruitment agencies out there, you might want to see if potential clients are trying to fill roles. You can search for I'm currently hiring, open job, or something along those lines. So speaking of finding candidates and looking for new business, that brings us to the next part of today, which is how can you use LinkedIn to find great talent. If you go to your homepage on the top right hand corner, you can start an advanced search. This is the best way to find people in your network. So if you use the search bar to find people that are relevant to the position you're trying to fill, you can use a Boolean string to search for people. So you could use a salesperson with SaaS and telecoms experience. By using specific search criteria, the role will be more relevant, and when you reach out to somebody, they're more likely to respond. On a personal free account, you're not going to have all the filters I have here, but you will have some basic filters. Also, when you do a search, let's say again that salesperson search, you'll only see a total number in your search results. So, for example, if there were 100,000 sales professionals out there with SaaS and telecoms experience, what will happen with a basic account is you'll still see that 100,000 number, but you'll only be able to contact 500 if that's who's within your connection base. You'll be able to contact them using emails. There's something important to remember here that when you're reaching out to people through this solution, if you have a personal profile that's really fully populated and you have a really good company page giving lots of information, and you're engaging with groups and people in groups and all the other things that we discussed today, you're going to get the best results, from using LinkedIn, and you'll have more people responding to your contacts with them. So we've covered off how you can use LinkedIn for free and a number of tips and tricks. For the next 5 minutes, I'm actually going to look at how you can use LinkedIn's corporate solutions in order for you to increase your return on investment 1,000-fold. The best way to show you the various ways of using LinkedIn from a paid perspective is to show you how a candidate will interact with you or your company when you reach them via email. I'm going to run you through that experience, and I'm very briefly going to give you a view of the corporate recruiter tool. So firstly, a free member will receive an email, which they're going to take a look at. The number one activity on LinkedIn is actually checking other people out. So this member will typically go and check out the profile of the person who sent them that email. Alternatively, they might go directly to the profile of the company or a profile of somebody they know working in the company. So again, one of the reasons to have a really good built out personal profile and to make sure all your employees do. So for example, if they went to my profile and I wasn't using LinkedIn Solutions, it would kind of look like I'm promoting Delta Airways here. So what you'll find is that typically the type of people who are viewing your your employees' profiles, and generally it's hundreds of people per month, are the type of people you're going to also want to recruit. So this is what it could look like. You could actually have a personalized dynamic ad here which will target the viewer. So for example, because Erica is an account executive, she's seeing an account executive role at LinkedIn. But likewise, if Erica was a software engineer, she'd see a software engineer. She'd also get the opportunity to maybe follow the company or find out more about what roles we have. This is a really great way of putting a relevant message in front of the right people at the exact moment that they're expressing an interest in your company. These are the type of people that you're looking at bringing on board or else placing. So if they don't go to your personal profile, maybe that person's going to go and check out the company page. So this is what Erica would see if she went to the LinkedIn company page, which is giving her a lot of information about LinkedIn, but it's not really giving her that much about career opportunities. So this is what Erica could see if we had a LinkedIn career page. To tell you the truth, this is actually what Erica sees today, because obviously as LinkedIn, this is our live page. But this is actually something that all companies can have. It'll give you in-depth information as to what it's like to work at the company. It'll include things like relevant jobs, employee testimonials, videos, company culture. I always explain it to my clients as it's really telling somebody who you are, and it's showing a person the inner company, really differentiating you from other companies out there in the market. And what I said earlier on today, every bit of extra information you can give a passive candidate, the better. So in order to reach out to people, on top of using your LinkedIn account, you can also use a LinkedIn recruiter account. So your LinkedIn recruiter account allows you to reach anybody in the LinkedIn network. 95% of LinkedIn members have said they're perfectly happy to hear from recruiters or HR people. The only thing that they ask is that it's relevant. So make sure when you're targeting people that you keep it relevant. I'm going to jump out here now and actually show you what LinkedIn Recruiter looks like. So each LinkedIn Recruiter license is attributed to a LinkedIn profile. So you'll see here I've got this extra tab, and what that means is that while this is attributed to my own personal profile, LinkedIn actually owns it. So if I were to leave LinkedIn tomorrow, they would just cut my access, but they would keep all the information that's stored in the back end, and the next person who came along would be able to use it and fit right into my footsteps. Well, hopefully not right in. So we'll just take a moment to log in. So this is the backend, which as you can see is quite different from what what your advanced search looks like. So I'm just going to run a search. So it's all done in Boolean. So here's one I prepared earlier. And it'll just take a moment or two to load. So this is basically trawling through all of LinkedIn, what would take you hours to do. So look, in the space of what, 30 seconds, I found 250,000 people worldwide to match my results. Now, that's a bit high for me. I don't need to talk to 250,000 people. So let's maybe bring it down to the UK. It's still a pretty big number. It's still, I think I said 23,000 people there. But what you're seeing is it's really easy to filter. If I wanted to maybe target people at Google or there was other companies I knew, I could do that. I could also use a number of different criteria, like if they previously worked for Google but now worked for a small to medium company. Or maybe I want people who went to the University of Exeter or Nottingham or whatever it is. So you can really filter down until you get a small list of your ideal candidates. And then what you're going to be able to do is you're actually going to be able to message them. So you can send a message en masse, which will be directed as a individual. So it'll go out to hi Matt and hi Mark in this instance. And you're going to use the type of criteria that you've used in the search, so it seems really personalized. I can also save this so I never ever have to run this search again. So I found 23,000 people in approximately 1 minute. I've just sent them 2 or 3 of them in an email, and I'm always going to be alerted to new people falling into my criteria. So you'll see here, I've got a number of, these are some that I've run in the past week or so, and I'm being alerted. You know, there's a lot more that we can do here. The functionality is incredible. It's where you manage your jobs, where you post your jobs. And our newest solution, which is called Talent Pipeline, actually allows you to upload somebody's CV. So you can mesh somebody's CV and LinkedIn profile, making sure that you're keeping your database right up to speed. So now we're going to go back into the presentation. Okay. So now if we look at, what does a candidate see when you actually post a job? Well, when you post a job through a corporate account, these jobs will dynamically target people based on a range of keywords, title, and location. For example, the type of jobs I see on a daily basis are account executive and marketing roles at companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of whom have international headquarters here in Dublin. Essentially, what putting all your jobs on LinkedIn will do will allow people to find you, and it will be essentially creating a really, really strong brand. By putting all or most of your professional jobs on LinkedIn, you can ensure that the types of professionals that are using LinkedIn will see the right opportunity for them. And why is this so important to have all your jobs on LinkedIn? Well, because 3/4 of our clients' hires that were influenced by LinkedIn jobs, so again, like Erica, who we just saw, are passive candidates. And you're not going to get your passive candidate going to your job board, but you are going to get your passive candidate logging into LinkedIn to network with their connections, to talk to people in groups, and maybe even to research your company. Only LinkedIn can offer results like this. And all of this occurs automatically, and it's what we call sourcing in your sleep. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for listening to me today. I really hope that it's been beneficial and of interest to you. One of my colleagues will follow up with you over the next couple of days. Just a couple of final things, that if you want to learn how to make an in-map, we're going to send out this presentation to you in the next few days, and all these links will be there. Once again, I'd like to say thank you so much for attending today's webcast, I look forward to hearing from you shortly.